This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Awesome. So planning, we're going to start with planning tonight. Um, and give me just a second to get rid of stuff in front of my face so I can see. All right. So we're going to start with our agenda in planning, and we're going to talk about the O in boss. You may remember when we talked about the others that we said we would get back around to outreach later in the planning section. We're going to talk about planning to grow your team, which I know both of you want to do, and we've talked in our one-on-ones a little bit of that through goal setting and how that will then follow into the planning module. We're going to talk about planning your time. It's not about what amount of time you have. It's, it can be any amount of time, but how do you manage that time so that you work within those constraints? So we're going to talk about planning your particular Avon time, planning the right balance of activities, prioritizing and gaining control of your business, and planning to take action with a 2-week calendar. So when we look at the O in boss is outreach. So part of planning is outreach. Who do you need to get to know in order to achieve your goals? And who do you need, what do you need to do to meet new people? So who do I need to know? And how am I going to meet new people? That's what it boils down to in terms of planning and planning your outreach. Always thinking about who do I need to meet next, or who can help me get to that next goal. Goodness gracious, the screens are slow tonight. All right. So let's begin by talking about how you can plan to grow your team. We can grow our team in a couple of ways. We can recruit new representatives to join, and we can help some of our current representatives achieve a higher leader or sales title. Let's start by talking about how we can find people to join Avon. So when you guys think about finding people to join Avon, and I know that both of you have had that conversation with me about adding new team members. Since we've talked, or maybe since your ideas are starting to flow a little bit, what are some of the best ways that you can think of to find people to join Avon?
For me, I tell you, I'm gonna be focusing on fundraising. I do a lot with the church with various churches. So I've already like reached out to a couple of different organizations, and I'm hoping to like meet new people, be able to explain about the product that way. And because fundraising does two things, it gets me into the organization, and then it also gets me with the with new people too, new customers. So hopefully with that, I'll be able to strike up conversations about the business and join in and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I was going to focus on in the next 3 months.
Well, absolutely. That's a great point, because many times we think about fundraisers being raising funds for some organization, but we don't always think about how fundraising can be something that increases our sales, something that gives us a whole new customer base, because the people that you work through the fundraiser, like you said, the people that you work through the fundraiser are not people, those people, but you don't know the people they're about to reach out to. So it opens up a whole new opportunity of people, either as customers and or the opportunity to take on the business. Or an extension of that is something that we're going to talk about. There's another goal digging call coming up next week, actually next Tuesday night, where we're going to talk about online fundraising. And we're going to talk about online fundraising in a way that's different than the typical It's not, okay, this organization or this, this situation, we need $2,000, we need $3,000. It's not that big thinking kind of fundraising. It's more of how many small fundraisers do you have access to online that you can then send them a link. You can set them up a link for an online fundraiser, and it may be that they're looking for $100 or $50 or $300. And you can set them up a link that, in addition to whatever else they have going on in terms of fundraising, is just another piece to add a little extra funds, brings you in more sales, brings you in more customers, and gives that person the money that they need.
Yeah, I like
Or
that.
through that online fundraiser, and thinking about that online fundraiser with that person, you realize that they, maybe they're the ones who personally need money or whatever it may be, and they've set up a GoFundMe or whatever, and you can talk to them about how this could benefit them as an opportunity just to make that quick money with the rapid pay that we can now offer. So lots of things around fundraisers. So Connie, that's a great idea. Anything else in terms of how you're gonna look for new team members?
No, that's my well,
That's
that's
your
kind
advice.
of my only one. Because I'm just trying to manage, because I work full time and trying to make it so that it kind of fits into what I'm already doing, and not kind of adding an extra layer to already busy life. So that's kind of the main thing. Yeah.
Working smart and not hard, right? And then thinking too, we talked a little bit on your call today specifically, Connie, about the social media opportunity.
Yeah.
And as you begin to get more comfortable with certainly with Instagram, but with Facebook and Instagram, and using it as a marketing tool and a connecting tool to, connecting with people based on similar interests, and begin to have some communication there and draw them in as new team members as well. So I know that those are a couple of ideas that we have talked about. Anything else that we're missing, Jenny, that you can think of?
Not at the moment, no, because we're like Connie, I work full time too, so it's really hard to. And I'm stuck in the back. I don't get to meet a whole lot of new people yet during the day, so
Yeah, right.
it's kind of no other ideas at the moment.
It's a lot of background noise I'm hearing. I'm not sure which line it's on. So if you guys want to mute when you're not talking, it might help, because I don't know where the noise is coming from. I'm looking at it. I think it was I think it might have been your line, Connie, because when I muted it, it went away. But just whenever you need to talk, just come out. You can come off mute. And then we talked some about, in both of your one-on-ones, talking about the current team that you have. What representatives could be your next leaders on your team? Or are those next leaders the ones that you're going to soon be bringing onto your team as new team members? Or what representatives on your team have not been active? Do they want to grow? Are they interested in growing? What brought them to Avon in the first place? And is that still the driving force for them? Or what might have changed, so that you can kind of help them regroup and rethink, their purpose here at Avon before you lose them as representatives. I'm telling you, my slides are moving really slow. So in order for you to find your next team members, you need to talk to the people, obviously, that you already know, and we call them your warm market. So you're going to be talking to people that you're already familiar with. You kind of know their story. You kind of think, oh, okay, I might be able to connect them with the opportunity because I already know kind of what they need. And those are some of the easier ones to talk to. And then some activities that you can plan that are listed here to meet new people. You can, and then, as you meet those new people, you want to be able to follow up with them. So always getting the names and numbers and that kind of thing. But you want to think about, who do you have that you already know? Well, you know that your top customers that are buying products love the products. Well, what do they love about the products? Would they like to get a discount on the products? So talking to your top customers to see if there's value in them becoming a representative, either for the discount or for, an earnings opportunity, because they love it so much, they're spending money anyway. Why not share it with a few people? Or maybe they're already sharing for you. So they would be, they're already kind of being a helper. They might be good opportunities to bring them into the business. You've got your family, your friends, people that you already know. We've talked about how you're both busy, you're both working, you have other involvements in your community. So utilizing those to make connections. Community events. I know that both of you have been involved in some sorts of table events, festivals, cancer walks, different opportunities where we've been able to involve yourself in the community and have a bigger connection of people. And sometimes, I know if you're like me, you might have some customers that and leads that you talked to at one point, but it's been a while. It's been a while to, that you've been able to connect with them. So you can kind of reconnect, pull those old numbers back out and reconnect with them. Fundraisers, like Connie talked about earlier, great way. So they got that one. And then having Avon opportunity meetings. My advice is, don't call them an Avon opportunity meeting, because nobody wants to come to your Avon opportunity meeting. They already know that if you call it an Avon opportunity meeting, well, okay, I know she's going to try to get me to participate in the opportunity, right? But what if you invite them to, and we have some representatives in Avon that do a really good job of this, but what if you invite them to an Avon bingo night, or you invite them to a night to make skin so soft bath bombs, like you've done in sales meetings, things like that. Some creative ways of getting people together for fun. A nail night, a paint your nails night, whatever, pamper spa night, whatever brings the people together for fun. You have some products there. You have people from your team to bring, to kind of help you man some different things. So this is what one of the representatives that I'm thinking about, what she does. She involves her team. So it might be her and a few people from her team, and they will, she will kind of be the one that does a lot of the presenting, but they'll have one that stands at a table with some products and brochures for people to order. They'll have a table set up about the opportunity, and they'll have somebody that stands at that table. They'll have the fun, the games, the whatever, and then they'll have an opportunity for them to look at the products, feel the products, talk about a few products, talk about the opportunity, and invite people to join. So more like just a party atmosphere than come listen to my Avon opportunity, because they don't want to listen to your Avon opportunity unless that's truly what they're looking for. But sometimes people don't know what they're looking for until they see that it's fun and exciting. I know for me, when I started Avon, I started it to get my products at a discount. it wasn't until I started going to the meetings and interacting with other people and doing things that I thought, oh, this is fun. You know, like I'm hooked. Like I got it. I can't wait till the next thing we do together, the next big meeting. And I went to everything. I mean, if we went to New Orleans, I went to New Orleans. If we went to Vegas, I went to Vegas. If we went down the street 5 miles, I went down the street 5 miles. Wherever we were, I was, because it was fun and I wanted to be there. And that's what you want your opportunity meetings, as they're saying. That's what you want it to look like. You want people to want to be there, make it fun. So now, as we think about focusing on our potential leaders for our teams, when I say potential leaders, what I mean by that are people who have both motivation. They have high motivation, you can see from the chart, high motivation and high sales success. So these might be the people on your team who are already selling over the $200 personal sales requirement that they need for leadership, or that they're very quickly approaching it. Let's say they started out and their orders were $50 and $100, and now they're selling $175. You know, they might be not quite there yet, but they're showing promise and they show energy and motivation. So it's a combination of those who believe in Avon, they want to grow their team, they're driven, they're coachable, they want feedback, they activate on feedback, they participate, they're positive, they're willing to help others, or you see them helping others. This slide, by the way, Jenny, always makes me think of Janet, and while we've been trying to tell her she needs to be in leadership for like ever and a day, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because this is like her all the time. Like she does all of these things.
Yes.
And she is in leadership now, but that's another point. But anyway.
She's trying to recruit more too. She's trying to find ways to recruit some more now too. So she's asking for help, and I don't know if I can help her.
So funny. She finally caught the bug. But this, it literally screams Janet to me. This whole slide. So, and then it's those, like I said, that have the sales. Their sales are growing. They always place orders. You don't have to wonder, are they going to place an order this campaign, or is it going to be another couple of campaigns? They pay for their orders on time. They grow their customer base. They're using the Avon U. They're looking for answers themselves. They're not always, Jenny, Connie. They're not always sucking the life and energy out of you. They're trying to find the answers themselves, give it to them. So anything else that you can think of other than what's on this list, that when you think of good leaders for your team, what other words or phrases come to mind? Anything?
Availability,
yeah. Kind of willingness and available. So perfect. So you just and I will give you something that somebody taught me years ago when I was in a stand-in manager position. One of the managers at that time taught me the term pre-qualified, and I used to use it as a district sales manager all the time. I used it as a leader quite a bit. When you look at those people, you pull your sales report and you look at the people who are consistently placing either, like I said, $200 orders, or their orders are climbing and they're consistently placing orders, and you send them a text, or you send them an email, or you pick up the phone and call them. That's ideal if you can get a hold of them, and let them know, hey, did you know that you have pre-qualified for a great earning opportunity with Avon? And they go, what? Pre-qualified for what? What does that mean? And then you get to introduce the leadership opportunity to them. Well, you are already doing X number of dollars in sales. You only need 3 people to come alongside you, join your team, and X number of dollars left, and you could get a $500 bonus. What would you do with a $500 bonus? So you can see how you could easily bridge that conversation from you pre-qualified. The pre-qualified piece, when you send that in a text or an email or a phone call, they're like, what? I pre-qualified for something? Pre-qualified means I need to do that, right? I'm already good enough to do something I didn't even know was, they may not even realize it's an opportunity. So it's a great word. So just a tip there if you want to try that. Then this is the part we really wanted to get to in planning. It's about planning your Avon time, because you've both said, I work, I don't have a lot of time. I don't want to do extra stuff. I don't want to take extra time. I need to be able to work within a certain number of hours. So it's deciding how much time that you have. And you'll see the two questions on the screen, but I really feel like the first one should be the second one. So the first one really should be, how much time do you have that's available given your other responsibilities? And then within that time, how much time do you have and how much time is going to be required to reach your goals? Because if your goals are loftier than the time that you're going to commit to, it's going to lead to failure instead of success. Or if you have time but you're not spending it wisely, it can lead to failure instead of success. So what we want to learn is how much time do you have to spend on your Avon business? And then we will break down and talk about how we're going to spend it. So you're going to ask, I am so sorry, I usually turn this on silence. There we go, I've got it for you. All right, so you're going to look at how much time you have, and then this screen kind of talks to you about how to break it down. So right now, one of the things that you're going to do on your application guide is you're going to look at your business the way it is right now and how much time do I spend in these different categories. So there's 4 categories. 3 of them basically pertain to your personal business, and only one of them really pertains to your team. So to get the right balance, you want to spend about 50 to 75% of your time on your personal business and 25 to 50% leading your team. So as you think about it, when you're thinking about planning is where you are looking at your business, you're looking at your vibe, you're evaluating, you're setting your goals, you're thinking about, okay, what am I going to do this campaign? What am I going to do this month to meet those goals, and really kind of nailing down the activities that you want to put in place over the next period of time that you're planning for. I typically have a planning day or a planning period. Sometimes it's a couple hours on Wednesday and a few hours on Thursday every other week when the campaign ends and the next one begins. At the start of that new campaign, I'm planning for that campaign ahead of time so that I can say, okay, this is who I'm working with, this is where we're going, and this is who I need to check in with. Oh, and I forgot about this, situation over here. So I'm looking at everything, so I make sure that I don't miss out on everything. So I'm doing a lot of analyzing and planning. Then you've got your selling. So that's the time that you are doing events, you're conducting your fundraisers, you're talking about your products, you're doing your social media, selling. You're selling the opportunity, or you're selling the products. Then managing is more about your meetings, following up with different downline on maybe inactive accounts or lack of orders. You're placing your own orders, you're delivering, you're just kind of the motions that you go through to carry out your different functions. And then the team section, and the only thing really included in the team section is leading. And it's about conducting conversations with your downline, taking the time to pick up the phone and call them, modeling behaviors for them. We used to have something that we called HIP time, where if you were out in the field doing something, you had one of your downline with you. As just a good idea to start letting them see what it is you're doing and how you're doing it. And then you switch roles and let them do it, and you watch and you provide feedback. Conducting training, kind of what we just talked about. And then sharing best practices, your Facebook groups, your team meetings, all of that kind of stuff falls into there. So once you understand how you should balance your activities, then it's important to actually plan what you're going to do. So you have a task list and you begin to look at what section does it fall in. So for example, an activity might be to plan to participate in the next holiday bazaar. Task related to this might be sending a confirmation to the event coordinator. Yes, I want to do this. Getting products and catalogs together so you have all the materials you need. Planning your outfit. What am I going to wear? What am I going to do? So basically taking what needs to happen and breaking down all of those steps so that there's a process of getting from A to Z. It's not just, oh, I need to have 5 new team members. Oh, well, how am I going to get those 5 new team members? Well, I've got to reach out to some new people. I've got to follow up with some people I've already contacted. I've got to maybe get some referrals from some of my current customers. So there's steps that you want to really detail and think through. And this is part of your planning process. So it's not like you just wake up one morning and say, oh, time to go get 5 people. There's a whole process to it that we don't necessarily think through that. And then in order to manage your time most effectively, we want to work on the right activities and the right focus and the things that really matter. So as you look at this chart, you will see in the top left, you have not urgent, and then over to the right, urgent. Not urgent is, it can happen, but it doesn't have to happen in this campaign. Urgent is, this needs to happen this campaign. And then down the left side, important means it leads to growing my business. Less important is it's just part of running my business. I have to put labels on my brochures, but do I have to be the one that puts the labels on my brochures? Or can I hire a child to do that? Are there things you can delegate, or do you have to literally do everything? And what do I do first? So what the things that you want to focus on, as you can see, are the things that are urgent. They got to happen this campaign, and they're important because they help grow your business. So calling and following up with your customers, coaching leaders whose titles are at risk, because if you don't do it this campaign and they're gone the next one, then you can't do it. So following up with no orders. If they don't have an order and you want them to have an order, you might want to do it within the campaign, right? What are some things you can kind of group together? Well, I'm on my way to work, but I can probably deliver on my way there or on my way back. So grouping things together where I'm already going. I already talked a little bit about delegating. I used to get my daughter to put my labels on my books, or to stamp my books, depending on which way I was doing it at the time. Occasionally, yes, I got a label upside down, but in the overall scheme of things, hundreds of books and 1 or 2 upside down, I'm good. It saves me time. I used to send out, and this was even, this is really bad. This is even as a district sales manager. I would send out, if I had a mass text to send out, and that mass text might be going to everybody in the district. So, and if I had several districts, it might be going to, 800,000, 2,000 people. I'm literally driving down the road and my daughter's in the passenger seat because I'm taking her to gymnastics or wherever, which that's what it was at the time. She's punching the send button over and over and over again. So I've made great use of my time, and I didn't have to push the send button 1,000 times. She did. So she gets to gymnastics. I contacted 1,000 representatives. Boom, it's done. So there's ways to think about working smarter. We talked about that earlier, working smarter instead of harder when you have a limited amount of time. So really thinking about what is most important and what's most urgent. Did it switch? Okay. And then let's consider focused on those most important tasks and really set yourself up for success. When you look at this picture, you and where it says you want to continue to focus on the most important things, most important and urgent things. Set appropriate expectations when you're out of the office. If you are working and you cannot be disturbed at work, then turn your phone off, ignore your text, whatever it is you need to do. But let your team know, let your customers know when it's appropriate to contact you. Have office hours, or as you see here, have leader hours. I used to do something called, and I've actually considered doing it again, and I probably will, even in the coach role. It's a little different in this role, but Jenny, you may remember it. I used to do open office hours in Zoom. And it would be a period of time where I knew I was going to be in my office. I would literally leave Zoom. It's just the webinar. It's kind of like GoToMeeting, but it's Zoom. Mm-hmm. I would leave Zoom open and people could pop in and out and ask questions.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, you used to do it at different times.
Yeah, just like an open door policy in an office. We're not in a setting where we're in an office together, so we don't really have that. But it was kind of like, hey, I'm here. This is the time you can definitely reach me. Pop in on your lunch hour if you want. And sometimes it would just be me and the person who pops in, and other times there may be several people who popped in at the same time, and we could share amongst ourselves. So it worked really well. I am considering doing that again. So establishing certain hours that people know they can contact you, but then putting the boundaries up when they can't. If you contact me on a Sunday and it is not an emergency, and by emergency I mean you're literally with somebody trying to sign them up, or something I can control versus something I can't. Your mascara didn't come in your order is not an emergency because I can't do anything about it. You need to call anyone. But if it's something that I can help with and it's on Sunday and it's not urgent, I'm probably going to wait till Monday to call you back. Because people just know I don't work on Sundays. I'm at church in the morning, I'm at church in the evening, and I rest in the afternoon. And sometimes I do get my work out, but it's by choice, not by somebody telling me I have to. So that's my boundary. When I leave my office at night, I might communicate a little bit in the evenings, but primarily I'm done. So you have to set your own realistic expectations. I used to have customers and you probably have had some of these, but I used to have customers that literally would call me at 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, good thing I have do not disturb on my phone, because I am not talking to you at 1:30 in the morning. I am sleeping. So things like that. And then you look at your work environment. If you've got your time set aside, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours, I'm going to work on my Avon, but you've got children in the background, husbands in the background, other distractions going on. Maybe you need to have a designated workspace. Maybe it's that you have an office in your home, or you have a corner of a spot in your home that's where you can get away. or perhaps you don't have that at home, and like you see here, a coffee shop, a restaurant, a hotel lobby, just get me out of my house so I can just focus for a while. A lot of times when I'm doing my planning sessions, even though I have a designated spot in my my home, I have a home office, I still sometimes want to get into a different four walls, just to have a different environment and be somewhere where I can just focus on the computer sitting in front of me, but yet not be staring at my same office walls. So sometimes I'll go to the local coffee shop and do that. But it's whatever works for you. And then when all your planning comes together, it's your calendar. So when you look at filling out your calendar for 2 weeks, many of the things that you put on your calendar may be the same every 2 weeks. You deliver orders at approximately the same time every Tuesday, every other Tuesday, every other Thursday, whatever your schedule is. You place your orders generally on Monday every other week. Some of the things on your calendar are just going to be they're the things you always do. But what about the high five incentive? What about reminding yourself to make those 5 contacts a day, or to text 5 people, or to make a phone call to 2 of your team members once a day, or something? Those things that you want to remember and that you know you need to do, but they just need to go on your calendar somewhere so that they happen. Because we all have the right intentions and we want to grow and we want to do it, but we get busy with the rest of life and forget. So if it's on your calendar, even if you have to move it to a different spot on your calendar, it's still on your calendar. I think this time we moved Connie's one-on-one at least once, maybe twice, Connie, I can't remember. But it was always on my calendar. So when we rescheduled, we just moved it. We just put it in a different place on our calendar. It doesn't matter as long as it gets done within the time frame. But if you don't, I could forget to reschedule it if I don't have it on the calendar and it didn't happen on its assigned day. So it's really important as you start thinking about the different activities that you're going to do with your Avon business that you get them on your calendar. I'm going to take this down now because I'm going to pull up the actual application guide. Oh, my stars. Where did it go? It did it again. How come sometimes it's there? There it is. And sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. All right. So, planning. So you're going to start with identifying who your potential team members might be. Do you have some leads that you need to follow up with? Have you had some conversations lately? Have you just thought of somebody that you haven't thought of in the past? Did you see something on Facebook where somebody needs to earn some money and you just want to, contact them? And so who are they? Kind of what their need is. When are they available? When can you contact them? What kind of time frame are we looking at? And that's what goes there. Team growth activities. What are you going to do to find your new team members? I'm going to reach out to 5 new people every day. I'm going to post twice a day on social media. I'm going to ask for referrals from my current customers. I'm going to, contact the people in some of my previous fundraisers and see, all those kind of things. What kind of things are you going to do to grow your team? That's what goes there. Then potential leaders are people that you have on your team, but they are kind of in that pre-qualified status. They're the ones you're going to reach out to and say, hey, you're pre-qualified. Pre-qualified for what, you ask? Let me tell you.
Hey, Sheila, there's 4 spots on there.
Yeah.
there's 4 spots in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the top of my head,
You
I
don't
can think of.
necessarily have to have 4. You don't
Okay.
necessarily have to have just who do you have that would be good leader candidates that you feel like you may not have had a chance to ask them by the time you put you may go, yep, this person, and I've already been talking to her about it, and here's where I'm at. Or it may be somebody that you're intending to talk to, and you want to get with me and figure out how you're going to talk to them before. But you don't necessarily have to have 4 names on there.
Okay.
If you have 4, that's great. But both of you have smaller teams, so the likelihood that you have 4 would kind of surprise me. So yeah, no, you don't necessarily have to have that. This is, like we talked about, how much time you're going to spend on your Avon business every week. And then what percentage of time are you giving to those different blocks? And then, and what do you, well, I say that, this is what are you doing now? This is the percentage you're giving it now, and this is what you're going to change it to. And then that's the chart. That gives you the examples of the urgent and non-urgent again. And then it gives you an opportunity to take your activities and decide what's urgent and not urgent and important and not important. And it gives you some questions down here that is basically a repeat of this. Because if you notice, these are the words that were in those 4 blocks before. So what task can you schedule in the future means that it's not all that urgent, and it's not all that important. So it's the same things. This just helps you kind of think through it, and then you can put it in the blocks. And honestly, it does not matter to me whether you put it in the blocks form or you just answer it in the form of a question. I'm good either way. I like the questions. I'm not good with blocks. That's just me. But some people love the blocks and hate the questions. So either way, or both. It's the same thing. It's just the way you format it and the way you look at it. How will you set yourself up for success in managing your time? How will you limit distractions to make the most of your Avon time? So this was talking about your office space and your delegated office time. How are you going to protect yourself with boundaries? How are you going to have a physical space that's appropriate for you to work your business? And this is your 2-week calendar. The way this 2-week calendar is written, it's written as week 1 and week 2, just like a campaign. So this might be your delivery week, this might be your order week, or vice versa. It's written without times and days in it because it's saying 5 days a week and whatever hours you might be able to work. So you might have 7, 8, 9 a.m. up here, and then skip down and have 8, 9, and 10 p.m. down here. It doesn't matter. The other thing you can do in terms of the 2-week calendar, if you have a calendar you're already using that has, and I'm not sharing it with anybody, so if it has personal appointments or whatever on it, but you can add in you're going to add in your Avon time to that, and it's a calendar that works for you, just shoot me a picture of that. You don't have to necessarily make more work for yourself and create another calendar. I mean, one of the what do you call it? One of the things about a calendar is that you only have one. If you have multiple calendars, you're really going to be confused. So if you've got a calendar you're already using, just incorporate your Avon stuff and send me that. Not a problem. And the last slide. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So we can wish to be gold ambassadors. But if we set a goal and we have a time frame and we create a plan, then we can get there. But if we don't have a plan and we're just hoping that someday we become a gold ambassador. It's going to take a lot longer. And it may or may not happen. It may just be I keep wishing I was going to be a gold ambassador. So I know that is the next plan for both of you. Actually, the next title movement for both of you is gold ambassadors. So, you know, share with each other, utilize our leadership powerhouse group to share. Utilize the Southeast page because there's a lot of good ideas out there. Ask questions. If you don't know something, there's probably somebody else out there with that same question and nobody's asked yet. So, you know, put your questions out there, ask your idea generating questions and get people really thinking, and, you know, just learn together. And anyway, as far as this, that's all I have for tonight. Do you all have any more questions about the planning or anything pertaining to planning? Anything you particularly struggle with or need help with?
So Sheila, you want our plans to when we do our next one-on-one? Is that what we're going to talk over? Is that?
Yes, that'll be when you'll turn in that application guide that we just went over. So, you know, if you can turn it in the day before. If I'm at home, I generally don't have to have it till the morning of. But since you don't know my schedule, if we can count on the day before, it helps me to know that I'm going to have it in hand, whether I'm in the field or I'm at home, that I'll have it printed off and ready to go when it's time for us to talk. So if you can turn it in the day before, that would be great. And as far as I know, we're both back on both of you are back on regular schedule for one-on-ones. So, so you've got those dates and times, but if you need those, just let me know. Anything else?
What I can think of.
Awesome. Are the Predators playing tonight,
No,
Jenny?
I'm good.
Yes, we're about ready to start too.
Awesome. I'll go watch. I'll watch a little bit and watch on my phone. I'm thinking I hear my husband watching TV in there, but I'll pay attention to the scores.
Yeah, it's in the background. I got to pack my orders tonight too, so it's a busy night.
Busy night.
Yes.
All right. Well, have fun creating your planning sessions, and I look forward to next week's one-on-one discussions. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Sheila.
Good night.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.